So last time we were talking about PHP, and then we covered what we had to cover. So now we have to finalize with our course unit. So today we are winding up with HTML and CSS together with PHP and MySQL. So now, if you have noticed, we briefly talked about what PHP is, and we looked at the basics. Then we also looked at just designing a simple system whereby you can use it to insert in data. Okay, so putting that aside, today we are going to talk about MySQL. So now the software we are going to use is WAMP server, the previous software that we used when we were in PHP. The only difference is that we are going to concentrate with the console. There is a console that is inbuilt within WAMP server, which is called MySQL console. Some of you may have MariaDB console within WAMP server. Okay, so now without wasting any more time, let me open WAMP server, and then we begin with what we are supposed to look at. And this is just the last this is what we are supposed to look at as the last topic in web development. So I'll start with looking for WAMP here. I already have it on the screen. So when you click that, when it starts, you wait for it to begin, and then you'll find it here. So wait for it to run. When it turns green, you open it. You look at this area here. Okay, when it turns green, you'll have to open that and then proceed. So now you click on that, and then this time round we are going to use the MySQL console. Okay, now when you come to MySQL, you come here. This is what we are going to look at today. So you drag your arrow pointer to MySQL to create this simple dialog box. Okay, then you go up to where you see MySQL console here. Now when you click that, okay, you just click OK. It's saying root. You just press OK, and then this screen will pop up. Okay, you just open that. Now the password is nothing. Okay, so what you'll do, you'll simply just press enter. Just press enter. There is nothing you are going to type there. You just press enter. When you press enter, it will display this information here. Don't worry about it, don't mind about it. The most important thing is what we are going to use it for. Okay, this console here. So now you can see that right now we are going to look at databases, how we can create a database. Previously in PHP, you discovered how we created our databases. Okay, you'd use phpMyAdmin, whereby most of you would go here. Okay, and then you go to phpMyAdmin. You go to phpMyAdmin. As we wait for it to load, let's go back to what we are supposed to look at. So right now we are going to look at how we can create a database. Okay, so this software already has a connection with phpMyAdmin, because whatever we create here, it is going to automatically create itself within phpMyAdmin. That means we are going to have two methods, okay, on how we can create our databases. Right now, when I type this, show databases, I press enter. It is providing with us a table structure that has a number of databases here. You can see there is information schema, access form, BBC DB, BBC Day, demo, family, friends. Okay, these are all databases that we create, okay, that you can create within MySQL or phpMyAdmin. Now the same number of databases I have here, you can see they are saying we have 15 rows. Okay, when I go back to this part, I wanted to show you something. Okay, click go. We need to see what we have. I want to show where we can find these databases as well. Okay, so you can see this area here. Okay, you can see that part. Let me try to zoom them in a bit. So I think, let me scroll this. Yes, so as you can see, if you look at this, you will notice that these are all databases. Okay, when I go back to MySQL console, you realize that the same, so there is a connection. Okay, whatever is created here, it will automatically create itself here. Okay, now in phpMyAdmin previously, normally we would just create a database from here. You will just go and click on top. You come here and say database, you type what you are typing, and then you click create. You select collation, then you click create, and that is it. This time around in MySQL, we need to type some queries. We have what we call a query. Okay, this is also a query, short database. Okay, a query is like a statement. Okay, that means those of you who are familiar with Oracle, maybe you could have an idea of this, but whether you are doing Oracle or not, okay, there's just a little bit of change. Okay, some slight bit of change, but what we are going to look at is not that tough. Okay, so now we need to create a database. Okay, one that is not here. As you can see, we need to come up with one. As I can see, we already have a database called student, so I'll come up with one called let me call it, because there are some of your colleagues who were in class on Tuesday this week, and then we looked at this area. So I want to use the exact same example I used particularly for that class, because for the evening group I was disappointed with the number of people who came. Okay, then I decided not to handle them because I realized that most of them were not around, most of you are not around. So I decided to make this video such that you catch up, because by next year, God willing, we are not going to look at this. We are going to just have a presentation for our coursework too, and then that is it. Okay, so this is where we are supposed to stop MySQL. So now we are going to create our database. So I'll say create database. Let me say lecturers, database called lecturers. So I'll press enter. So it is saying query okay, one row affected. That means we have a row that has been created. Let me try to increase the size here. Let me make this 36. Okay, now when I create my database called lecturers, we need to connect to that particular database such that we can create a table. Okay, so I'll say connect lecturers. So our database name is called lecturers. Now when I create this database, okay, remember I've told you that there is a connection with the phpMyAdmin. Okay, right now we don't have the lecturers database here. Okay, but since I've already created it here, okay, so you can just refresh this and then we wait and see. Here it is. Okay, so you can see that now we have a database called lecturers. So you can either create using MySQL console, create your database, or you can use phpMyAdmin. You have two options. Okay, so now we need to create a table, but before we create a table for this particular database, we need to first connect to it. Okay, now in phpMyAdmin, creating a table is very easy. You just have to use this, whatever you have has been displayed here, these fields, and then you fill them in with the number of columns. Whereas here you need to first establish a connection with that database, then you receive a connection ID. Okay, and then after receiving that connection ID, we can create our what? Table. Okay, so now we shall say something like create table. Now we need to come up with a table name for our table. Okay, and then let me give it a name like lecturer info. Lecturer info. Okay, and then we need to insert in some columns, some column names. Okay, so now we shall say something like lecturer ID, then int. Okay, this is a data type. Okay, this is a data type called int, so you'll put a comma there, then we say name, then we shall say varchar. Now varchar, for it is variable character. Okay, it is variable character. Okay, now when you press enter, it is saying okay, 0 rows affected. Now we need to confirm whether our table has been created within the database. How can we tell that it is being just successfully been created within the database? We can simply just say show. I'll say show the table. Sorry, I'll say show tables. Show tables. When I press enter, we have one table within the database called lecturers. It's called lecturer info. Okay, so now we need to confirm whether it has also affected the phpMyAdmin. When we go back, remember now we don't have the table here, as you can see. Okay, so when I refresh this, you have to be observant. When I refresh this, we need to see that our table is already here. Okay, as you can see now, we have it. It is down here. Okay, lecturer info. We have our table, lecturer info. Previously it wasn't there, but now when we created it from here, okay, it also set itself up within phpMyAdmin, and then you can see that our column names are also here as well. Okay, so there is a connection. Now, for those of you who are wondering what is int, what is variable character, this one I've already explained. It is varchar. Then this is integer. This is a data type called integer. This one, for it, we won't insert in any value. Why? Simply because for it, normally it will generate its own value automatically. And how can we tell that it will generate its own value automatically? Let me show you something in phpMyAdmin. Let's go to another database here to better understand this. Let me see. There is a table called students here. When I click on that, okay, we don't have any database called students. Let me create a table here. I'll just call it S. I'll just call it S, and then the rows will be let me say something like 2. Now, are you saying this part that has generated itself? In phpMyAdmin, normally we'll type here ID, okay, and then you type here name, okay, you put here your name, then the int, this is the data type, and then variable character. Okay, even text will work, even if you use text here. Okay, so here the way I'm setting up everything is way different compared to this, because here we already have the templates, we have the fields. You just have to know what you are selecting, what you are supposed to insert here and there. Okay, and then okay, so here I've put here lecturer ID. That means it will appear here, but now it has appeared automatically when I decided to create it on its own from here. Okay, I'll show you, but now this is where I'm getting from everything. Integer, okay, as you can see it is here, int, and then variable character varchar to represent texts. Then I put my own values. Now the values, we shall put them here, but unlike the ID, for it we want, because we have used the int, data type. So for it, normally it's going to generate its own values, the figures. So that's why you may even put here 20. It could be another figure, whatever. Okay, for me now I gave you an example of 255. The choice is yours. Now in PHP admin, normally we create tables like this, and then even the links, the column names, we also are created like this. Okay, when you are done, that's how it is. For it, it's like that. Okay, this one we looked at it when you are doing PHP. Now when we go back to where is a table called lecturer info. Okay, now for it, when I head to, okay, we are here. Okay, the column names are already here, as you can see. They're already there, so we need to just proceed. Okay, you can see it has input the value itself. Here I didn't put anything because it will generate its own values. That's why we left it out. This one, unlike it, for it I had to generate the values. We have 255 here. Okay, so it automatically generated itself when I just inserted from the console. Now we proceed without wasting any more time. We need to also insert. How can we insert values within our columns that we have come up with? So for example, what we are going to do, where is that database called students? Okay, when we go to, I recall we created our table here. Where is it? Okay, I'm wondering, I'm not seeing it anywhere. I'll put it back. Let me just put one column and avoid wasting time. So I'll put here ID. Okay, it's something I just want to show you very fast because this is this one you looked at it already, so I'm not going to repeat myself. I just want you people to better understand this. First zoom that back. Nice. Click save. Something I want to show you. Okay, so inserting. Now here we are going to insert as well, but I want to show you how we are doing it in PHP my admin. Normally, we would just come here and click insert. Okay, and then you put your values that you want. Don't tamper with this. You may just put here something like 1. Then you just click go. So you create something like that, okay, and then it is done. Let me browse here. So you see we have our value 1. Okay, now that is how we insert in PHP admin. Now to insert using a query. Okay, we need to insert some information in our table. So I will simply say insert into the table called lecturer info. You open the brackets, you put the lecturer ID, comma, put there the name, close brackets, then simply say values, open brackets, and then quotes, you put there your 1, then again quotes. So let me come up with something weird, and I say I want to come up with a name called human. So when I close that, I terminate, you press enter, it will say query okay, 1 row affected. Okay, so we need to know whether our information has been created. For us to know, we need to just say select star from that particular table name, lecturer info. Terminate that. When you press that, you'll notice that now information has been inserted in this table structure. So lecturer ID 1, name human, as we have just what inserted. When we head back here to our table, when you click that lecturer info, you'll find automatically it is going to be here. Okay, simply because it has also what it has a connection with phpMyAdmin as well. So whatever you do in that console, it will also appear here. Okay, whatever you do in that console, it will also appear within this area automatically. So now you proceed. Maybe I want to insert another column. We need to have like a list too. So I want to just change that to the ID. I'll change this to 2, then I'll call this Bing. Now here you can come up with your own names. Anyway, yeah. Press enter, and then I say select stuff from lecturer info, the table name, where we have now 2 rows in set, as you can see, 2 rows in set. Okay. Now, when you head back to phpMyAdmin and you refresh, okay, you'll discover that we have new rows as well. When you scroll down, you see we have 2, second ID and then the Bing. Okay. Now we need to know how to delete rows as well. How can we delete these information here one by one? Or if you make an error somewhere, how can we update and change the information? We shall look at that after looking at how we can delete rows. Okay, so now we shall say delete from the table name lecturer info, then we say where lecturer ID, okay, is equal to 1. When I press enter, it has deleted it already. Okay, how can we confirm it has been deleted successfully? When we say select stuff from lecturer info again and I press enter, you can see now in our table structure we simply have only 1 row. Okay, that means we have got rid of that other what row. That's how you delete. Then we need to update. If you have deleted that, we need to make this number 1. How can we change this ID to 1? And then how can we change the name as well? Because this is a weird name, Bing. Okay, so now updating, we shall simply say update table name lecturer info, then you say set name, sorry, set lecturer ID is equal to 1. That means here you are trying to say that you want this ID to change to what? To 1. Okay, now you say where name is equal to Bing. So you terminate that, you press enter. Okay, so it has updated. How can we find out? We shall say select stuff from lecturer info. You press enter, you can see now from 2 to 1. Okay, there is a change. You can see there is a massive change here. Now, can we change the name as well? Yes, we can. So now I'll just make changes with this query. Okay, let me just come back here. Now I know there are some of you who are noticing how I'm doing this. Okay, at random I'm just going to each query like that. If you look at your keys on your keyboard, the arrow pointers, the one that goes up and down, the arrow that goes up and down, are the ones I'm using to make those changes very fast. So here to update, I want to just do this. So I'll say set name. I'm going to now change the name. Set name. What is the name? Name is Bing. You need to change that name where lecturer ID is equal to 1. Now remember, we have just changed the ID. That means we are going to go with the update we made previously. Okay, when I press enter, okay, and then sorry, it's not going to change. It won't change because we haven't changed what we wanted. It won't work. Let me change this from Bing to James, something like that. Or I can just say you. Okay, you can come up with something on your own. I'll say you. Now when I select star, now what this does, when I say select star from lecturer info, this one, for it, normally it is going to retrieve all the information that belongs to this particular table name, lecturer info. That's why it is helping us to generate this simple table structure here. Okay, so now when I press enter, you can see the name has changed from Bing to you. Okay, this is what we have used to change that. Okay, so now how can we delete the information we have placed here? How can we delete the information that we have placed in this table structure? It is something very simple. We shall just say delete. We shall say delete from lecturer info. Press enter, one row affected. To confirm, select stuff from lecturer info. Here we are now confirming whether it has deleted. You can see it is saying now empty set. Yet previously we had this simple table structure here. Okay, this is how you delete. Then we need to drop the table. Okay, remember we have this table called lecturer info and it already exists. That means we need to drop it. That is like deleting it, wiping it out as if it has never existed, wiping it out of existence. You may say something like that. So that one is something very simple. You just simply write this query. You say drop the table lecturer info. You press enter. Okay, it has dropped it already. How can we confirm? You'll just simply say show tables. It will say empty set. Why? We have just deleted our what? Table. Okay, now what of the database? Can we drop the database? Remember our database name, we have just created it. It's called lecturers. Okay, can we get rid of it as well? Yes, and we use the same query we have just talked about. The only difference is that we shall simply say drop database lecturers. Okay, now to confirm whether it is there or not, we simply just say show us the databases. When you run that again, you will discover that now it no longer exists in this table structure. Okay, even though I go back to PHP my admin, okay, you can see it is here right now. When I refresh, you will discover that it is no more. Okay, you can see it no longer what exists. If you look for the database called lecturers, now it is no more. That is how you get rid of what? The database. Okay, so now that is all. Okay, that is what we had to cover last time. So I'll send the slides with this exact information. You look through the slides and then you try to practice.